Welcome back to Hot Water Wrestling, everybody. And today we have the top 10 movies of 2012, according to me. And I figured I'd make this since the Gators are getting their ass kicked in the Sugar Bowl right now. Yep, leave your hate below. I'll let it rain off my back. But, anyways, Happy New Year to everybody. And I'm sorry this isn't a wrestling video, but I just felt inspired after watching a bunch of other people's top 10 movies list out there. I figured I'd make my own top 10 movies list. So I'll tell you what movies I did not see this year, so they're not on my list because I didn't see them. Les Miserables, I have not seen. Cloud Atlas, I have not seen. I really do want to see that. I did not see Lincoln. I did not see Looper. I actually got it on Blu-ray back here, so I'm going to be watching it really soon, but I did not see it. And I did not get to see Frankenweenie. Now, Tim Burton's one of my favorite directors, so it was pretty sad I didn't get to see Frankenweenie, but it just sounds stupid saying that. But I plan on seeing it when it comes out on Blu-ray. So if those were some of your favorite movies, I'm sorry they're not on my list because I didn't see them. So, anyways, let's get right into the list at number 10. I'm giving number 10 to Cabin in the Woods. Very unique horror film, something that doesn't come along very often. A horror film that has a lot of original ideas, um, great execution, keeps you on the edge of your seat. Um, if you love horror movies or even like paranormal movies or even stuff like Ghostbusters or Men in Black, you would enjoy Cabin in the Woods. It's not what you think. Um, I highly recommend this movie. It was very original and very cool. Um, I know there won't be a sequel, but I don't want to spoil anything. Number nine, surprisingly, an animated film, which is quite rare for me, is Wreck-It Ralph. Um, this movie really surprised me. I have a young daughter, and I took her to see it. And the reason I'll go back to saying I didn't see Frankenweenie is because she insisted on seeing Hotel Transylvania, which was a piece of crap. But I did take her to go see Wreck-It Ralph. And I was excited about this movie because it was based on video games and kind of like the old Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers. So I was excited to see it, but I had no idea that it was going to be such a great movie. Thought provoking, had a very deep message. Actually, they eked out some originality, which is something you don't see too often in most animated movies. They kind of all follow a formula, but this one uh, was a little different. The characters were very well developed. I mean, it pulled you right in. Well written dialogue, amazing animation, a really, really, really cool movie is Wreck It Ralph. Number eight, Prometheus, the prequel to the Alien film. I highly recommend watching Alien by Ridley Scott, the first one, and you can watch the second one too, but you must see the first one again before seeing Prometheus. It'll really enhance your viewing of the film. A lot of people who gave this movie negative comments, I found were not people who were really familiar with the original films, which was quite strange. But there are plenty of references. It's obviously a prequel. If you know the other films well, you can clearly see that this movie is awesome and completely well done. Even if you don't know the other films, you might like it. But I'm just saying, if you heard anything negative about it, it tends to come from those people who haven't really seen the first movie or hadn't seen it in a long time. But Prometheus, I cannot wait for the other ones. They're making two more. So this is a great franchise that I'm going to be waiting to see every summer when it comes out. So number eight goes to Prometheus. Number seven goes to Skyfall, James Bond. Um, really terrific Bond film. Brought back a lot of the elements of the original Bond with Sean Connery, but of course had the new kind of grit and edge that the Daniel Craig character has. I think this is the Bond movie that we've all been wanting to see Daniel Craig make, and we knew that he could make. Um, really excellent. Javier Bardem is an excellent villain. Basically, I'll say if they ever need someone to play the Joker again, that's your man because he was just superb villain. This movie is one of those that just has everything in it. You're gonna get the whole kitchen sink. I can't talk today, but you're gonna get the whole kit and caboodle with this film. Everything from romance to action, everything. So I highly recommend Skyfall. Next is Argo. Ben Affleck directed Argo and starring Ben Affleck. Very well written, um, well executed film, great cinematography, great editing, great pacing. Kept me on the edge of my seat. There wasn't even that much violence in the movie, but for some reason I was just gripping my seat at each turn of the film. The suspense just got higher and higher and higher, which is really incredible. Based on a true story, which even makes the movie cooler. I can't recommend this movie enough. You're gonna get what you pay for when you go see Argo. It is just a really really good movie. I like if you guys saw it in the theaters. I don't know if it's gonna be this way when it comes out on DVD, but in the theaters they had the old Warner Brothers logo before it, which was kind of cool. It kind of reminds you of one of the great movies from the late '70s, early '80s, like in your Scarface or your Godfather or your All the President's Men or Dog Day Afternoon or Taxi Driver. It just has that kind of classic feel to it, but boy, it is a great movie. Look for this one definitely to get you know nominated for Best Picture for sure, and maybe even Best Director. I'm not saying it's going to win, but we should see a nomination. I can tell you right now, Wreck-It Ralph is going to hands down win the Best Animated Film of the year, and it deserves it tenfold. Number 5, Moonrise Kingdom, the new film from Wes Anderson, the guy who brought us Rushmore and The Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic, among other great films. This is his newest movie about a Boy Scout troop, starring Ed Norton and Bill Murray. And Bruce Willis is in the movie too. Just a great coming of age story about a boy who is a part of this scout troop and he doesn't want to do it anymore, and he ends up going off to do his own thing, and simultaneously there's this girl who lives this kind of sheltered life. So she decides to join him on his quest, and the both of them go off together. And it's if you know Wes Anderson, you know what his films are, what his style is already. I don't have to tell you much. But if you're not familiar with Wes Anderson, this movie's in the vein of like a Stand By Me sort of film, sort of like The Goonies, stuff. I mean, not as adventurous as The Goonies, but just having to do with, when you're at that age, when you're a kid like that, and what the world is to you, and seeing it through their eyes. And it's a really funny movie, well written, obviously well acted and shot. I mean, Wes Anderson is just, he's gold. Number 4, The Avengers. Yes, many label it as the greatest comic book movie of all time. And I will say that I have to agree. It's so close to being the greatest comic book movie of all time. What a great movie. I didn't know what to think about this. What Marvel has done here is just unprecedented. How they brought together all these characters on the big screen. I mean, this started almost 10 years ago. I mean, at least in its infancy, but they've been cooking since like 2005, putting out all these films and slowly tying them together. And no one has ever done that in the history of cinema. It's the first time. I'm not saying the Avengers is for the first time. Of course, that was in the comic books ages ago. I'm talking about on the big screen. Just how they did that was just unbelievable, and it came together better than I could have ever hoped. I mean, I was going to go into this film, giving it the benefit of the doubt anyways, because it's such a difficult thing to pull off what they did, and bringing all the actors and the talent, and just making it all work with the pacing. And it was just really really incredible on that level. Not to mention the movie is completely fucking kick ass. One of the funnest times I have had at the movies in ages. The Avengers, amazing popcorn movie, probably the popcorn ride film of the year for sure. Can't wait for the other ones. I'm actually quite shocked that they've gone out and they're making another Thor and another Captain America, because it's like, why not just skip that and go straight to Avengers 2? But I guess we're just going to get more. So, the Avengers. Number 3, The Hobbit. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, big Tolkien fan. I read the books throughout my childhood. When the Lord of the Rings films came out, I was very excited. And of course, they were amazing and kick ass. And what I'll say about The Hobbit, if you have any question in your mind, it's as if Peter Jackson just never stopped filming from the last time. It's just, it has the same feel and tone and the same care and charm and heart as the last 3 films. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. It blew me away. You know, it was kind of quiet this year with, stuff like the Avengers and the Dark Knight and even, the James Bond and all these other bigger films sort of seemed to overshadow. And Hunger Games, of course, was a big hit. All those films seemed to kind of overshadow the fact that we were getting The Hobbit. We were getting the Lord of the Rings movie. And everyone was just kind of like, yeah, it's coming, but yeah, this and that. And I was worried that it wasn't going to really be as good. And I went, and it just exceeded my expectations, and it was totally kick-ass. So if you have any doubt about seeing this movie for the fact that you might not like it as much as the others, well, don't worry about it. You're going to love it. I personally saw it in regular 2D at 24 frames a second, and it felt just like the other films. I can't say that enough. It just, I can't wait for the other ones. I can't believe it's number 3 on my top 10 films. That's how good it was, though. Number 2, and it's really kind of like it's sharing the spot with number 1, but I'll tell you why I gave number 1 number 1. Number 2 is Django Unchained. The D is silent. Django Unchained. Quentin Tarantino's, I believe. What do we got? Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill 1 and 2, and we have Death Proof and Inglourious Basterds. So his 8th feature film here, Django Unchained. He makes a Western. I can't believe it. Kick ass. No, kick fucking ass. Django Unchained. If you're a guy and you don't like this movie, you have no balls, first of all. But it's, Tarantino honing his craft, doing what he does best. Amazing characters, amazing dialogue, great action, great violence. Django Unchained is a whopping good time at the cinema. Highly recommend Django Unchained. He's Quentin Tarantino. No, I don't just give him praise because of who he is. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And Django Unchained just keeps the train of awesomeness rolling for Tarantino at number 2. And number 1, the number 1 movie is The Dark Knight Rises, the best comic book movie of all time. I know that and the Avengers will be argued from, day to day, but I mean, they pulled it off with Batman. That movie, The Dark Knight Rises, was just an incredible film. I had to see it twice just to have it all sink in. I mean, not really the meaning, I got that, but I just mean all the things that are in the movie and how much density is in that film. What an amazing picture that is. What an amazing trilogy, an amazing run for Christopher Nolan here with these Dark Knight films. Unbelievable. I always say the first one, Batman Begins, will be my favorite of the series. I say that just because it's probably the most lighthearted, not that any of them are, but it's the most lighthearted and sort of sit on the couch and throw it on kind of movie, whereas The Dark Knight, and especially The Dark Knight Rises, are extremely intense movies and kind of mind-bending films. How he took mind-bending, let's hold on that, how he took the comic book character of Batman and put him into the scenario of his world in his Batman films, it's just amazing. And made these just mind-bending, sort of quasi Sherlock Holmes, dark film noir comic book films is just unbelievable. And then he made them on a grand scale. I mean, they're like giant summer blockbusters, but the tone and the picture itself is just it's just incredible, unbelievable. I can't say enough. I mean, from a filmmaking standpoint, that accomplishment is just unreal. And I can't give it away to, or sorry, I can't take anything away from, the Avengers and what was accomplished there. It's kind of on a different level. Really, this whole top 10 list is all my favorite movies of 2012. I mean, I'm only ranking them just because, they're all number one for me for their own reason. And let me give honorable mentions here to a few films. One movie, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, starring Keira Knightley and Steve Carell. Great film. Has a lot of heart, but it's very funny. It's got a lot of meaning. I highly recommend watching that if you haven't. It's a movie about, this meteor is coming to destroy Earth, and we only have so many days to live. And the tension just keeps building and building. It's not a slapstick comedy, so don't go into it thinking that. But it's not like some sappy, bullshit movie either. It's just got the right balance of everything. The next would have to be The Master by P.T. Anderson, one of the best filmmakers of our generation. I mean, Tarantino, Wes Anderson, P.T. Anderson, and those three guys right there, and Christopher Nolan, I would have to say. That's what I was thinking. Those guys. I mean, they're just our Scorsese's and Kubrick's, and I mean they're just unbelievable. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The Master, that's right. The Master. This movie, the payoff at the end of the film was not really what I was looking for, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, it was great and I get the utter deep meaning of everything. And no, it just, the ending for this film was not that great. It kind of just piddled out. I was really shocked. There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, the movie about the oil. If you haven't seen There Will Be Blood, just drop everything and go watch that movie. It's incredible. Probably his best film. P.T. Anderson's best film, but the Master just it failed to kind of come together at the end. It started off a little rocky as well, but it got really good. Towards the beginning of the middle and the whole middle. It was like a 2 hour and 40-minute film, so I would say the first kind of half an hour was a little rocky, and then the last half an hour was kind of bad, but that's just my opinion. I mean, it might even get nominated for Best Picture. I know a lot of people liked it, but I did like it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I will watch the film again. It's not something that I could go back to and watch all the time, because it is kind of disturbing in its own right, but The Master will give an honorable mention. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, was really shocked with this one. It kind of blew me away. I didn't know what to think when they were rebooting it. It kind of felt like it was a little soon. I just was of the opinion of, okay, well, you got a new actor. Just make another Spider-Man movie. There's no reason to go back and tell it all again. But this movie's got a whole different tone, different vibe of the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire films. And I have to say, I actually like it better. And now I'm going to be excited to see these Spider-Man movies as they come out. I kind of blew it off. I saw it. I did not see it in the theater, and I ended up seeing it on DVD. And I heard from a few people, it's really great. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. I love all the comic book movies, so I'm going to see it anyways. But I put it on, and when it was over, I was just like, wow, that movie was really great. I made a mistake not seeing that in the theater. So Spider-Man. The next is Paranorman, the animated film. 2 animated films on my list this year. And all these honorable mentions are still movies that I just love. There's just not enough numbers to add them. Paranorman, great movie, claymation movie about this kid who can communicate with the dead. Another movie with a lot of heart, kind of like Wreck-It Ralph, a lot of heart, a lot of originality. a lot of meaning you can take from this film, not just your typical run-of-the-mill, animated formula. This movie kind of separates itself from the pack. I really enjoyed Paranorman a lot. Highly recommend it. Even if you're not really into animated movies, I'm not too much into these sort of animated movies. I have kids. I go see them. They're just kind of all the same to me. They end up being charming and everything and all that. But I don't really seek them out too often. Um, Next would be, everyone's gonna laugh at me for this one, but I'm gonna say it because it was just fucking awesome. Was Act of Valor? Yes, Act of Valor, starring some real Navy SEALs, showing us some real military scenarios. I will admit that the acting in between the missions is god awful. The pits is dreadful. Um, no pretending there, but why is it getting an honorable mention on my top movies list? Because of its incredibly done action scenes. If you love military films and love like real life, black ops kind of action stuff, you're gonna love Act of Valor. What are you waiting for? Get out and see Act of Valor. It's just amazing. Um, but beware, the acting in between missions sucks, but you can suffer through it because the payoff of the action just kicks so much ass. Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp. 1 minute. This movie, Dark Shadows, it wasn't like some great movie or anything, but it kind of, it was another Tim Burton film. He had two movies that came out this year, Frankenweenie and Dark Shadows. Um, but I really liked it. It kind of brought me back to the old Tim Burton films. It's kind of like a Beetlejuice sort of thing. Um, I really enjoyed Dark Shadows for what it was. I probably shouldn't be on my honorable mention list or whatever, but it's just a personal like, and this is my personal list, so fuck it. Dark Shadows, I really enjoyed it. Um, and that will about do it. I guess I'll mention The Hunger Games since it was such a big film. What I thought about that movie, I thought the filmmaking and execution in that movie was very bad. The action scenes were, for the most part, uneventful. The CGI was shoddy. The cinematography was shoddy. It kind of reminded me of an episode of like Smallville or that show that's on now with the fucking people. I don't know why I even said that because now I can't remember the name of the show, but it's the futuristic show where like it's after the post-apocalypse. It's on now that everyone's watching. I think it starts with a U, Uncharted or something. I don't know, but it's like an episode of Smallville, kind of the movie. It just felt very television-y and just did not have the value there, production value, that I think the story deserved. I had not read the book. My wife had read the book and she raved about it, and that's why we went to go see the movie. And even she agreed that the movie was not really up to par. Um, that kind of took away from the film in most respects, but I do like it. I actually ended up getting it on Blu-ray. It is an enjoyable movie. It is a really cool idea, and I look forward to the other ones. Um, I think they are going to up the bar. The director of this last one of the Hunger Games, like he left, said like he didn't want to do it anymore. I think that's bullshit. I think the bastard was flat out fired. And so they brought someone in to take over for him, and I think now they realize what they have is like a gold mine, obviously, and they're going to put a lot into their sequels. So the franchise should recover fine, and that's just a personal preference. The movie was enjoyable, and I did like it, so that's why it was not on my list. If you're wondering where is the Hunger Games, well, there it is. Twilight is not going to get a mention. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. 25 minutes here. Wow, that's a kind of a long video. I'm going to make it longer by just rambling on nonsense. I hope you enjoyed my list of top 10 movies of 2012. I look forward to more good cinema in 2013. I also look forward to some more good wrestling, and I promise I'll be on here with some wrestling videos soon. Just been busy, same old story with me. I come on when I can. I hope you're all doing well. Keep making good videos, and I'll talk to you soon.